We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday morning edition of the Roundtable Show with hosts Rick and Wayne. Come to you every Tuesday morning here at WGNS in Murfreesboro. And good morning, Wayne. How are you, buddy?
Very good. Merry Christmas, my brother.
Same here, man. It's a little wet one going on out
Well,
here, man.
yeah,
We've gotten in that lull again after having a drought.
I know. We need to get past the drought, but I guess this is our Christmas present is getting enough rain to get out of the drought there. So, but 8 days to Christmas. I pray.
Are you done?
No, not quite.
What'd you get me?
We talk about that later.
Okay.
But good. Yeah, I'm. Football is winding down. Congratulations to Oakland Patriots winning the 6A state championship again, and we love that championship continues to run through Rutherford County.
Sure does.
But with Tennessee is in the playoffs, so that's good. I think Vanderbilt gets a bowl game, and we're hopeful that the Blue Raiders improve next year, and we can just have a all-around great football season.
I was watching last night how broken it is. There's over 2,000 kids already in that portal, and we've not even played our first bowl game or anything else. And Penn State, for them being from Vanderbilt, was talking about his number 2 quarterback left, and he really needs him. And said the kid didn't want to leave, but because of the way it's all set up right now, something's going to have to change.
Well, when the greatest, the GOAT, Nick Saban, when he retired because of NIL and portal, I think that spoke volumes, and things just going to have to change some way for it to be actually collegiate and not semi-professional. What's weird is to have a college player make more than the rookie contract of an NFL player.
I know.
That's just bizarre to me, but it's the sign of the times. So.
That's exactly.
So, Brother Rick, we've got a great program today. Again, this close to Christmas, this morning we have Dr. Russ Galloway, retired physician and board member for the Journey Home, and Lisbeth. Is that a
Liz.
Or Liz or
Liz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Close. Kauser, Director of Development and Marketing for the Journey Home, and I can't think of a better program for us to host than one that takes care of the underserved in our community. And God bless y'all for the effort to take care of these individuals. So. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourselves to our listening audience, and then we'll get straight into the Journey Home.
Well, we're really happy to be here, and thank you for having us on the Roundtable this morning. I've been with the Journey Home for a little over 4 years, and have been in marketing development most of my professional life, helping the underserved. So I consider it a real honor to help people in my own community that are really our most vulnerable people.
So you grew up in...
I grew up in Winchester.
Yep.
We've talked a little bit about that. Yeah. Have a lot of connections here. Went to Franklin County and then wound up at Middle Tennessee, and have stayed in Middle Tennessee most of my life.
You're not really a transplant. You just moved over a county or two.
That's right. That's right.
Dr. Galloway?
like you mentioned, I worked in the emergency department for 33 years here in Murfreesboro and loved it. But, one of the things we saw while I was in the emergency department was the homeless. And it was always something that broke my heart, especially with the poor medical outcomes that come with that and the homeless families that we could not really help while we were there and didn't have any good place to take care of them. So when I retired from the emergency department about 2 years ago, I was looking for some place that I thought I could make a difference in. And this community has given my wife and I so much. I wanted to give a little bit back. And this seemed like the perfect opportunity, and that's why I got involved with the Journey Home, was their outreach for homeless families.
Maybe talk about the origin of the Journey Home.
Yeah, so the Journey Home was founded in 2006 by Scott Foster, who still serves as our executive director today. And he was joined by Geneva Poss, who just celebrated her 80th birthday.
Wow.
And still works at the Journey Home. And they started by serving meals out of the trunks of their car. Yes, and then they found the building that we are in now and had a slew of volunteers come in from several churches and help us retrofit that, and that is where the Journey Home has grown up.
I know several years ago, congregation that I attended at the time, we would cook a meal, I think every Sunday, and we did that for several weeks. Is that program still ongoing?
It sure is. We have about 1,000 volunteers that help us
Wow.
annually, and we're going to get into some information about our new building, and we'll even need more volunteers.
Well, do you want to go ahead and get into the new building right
You want
now?
to talk about that, Russ?
Yeah, the new building is going to be about a mile from where the present building is. The present building was destined for destruction as the city beautifies that section of town and the long-term plans for the city. So we knew we had to move. So we began a search for the right place, and we found a great location for this new building. The old building has a lot of needs that just cannot be corrected, and this will provide us much better services. But the thing that drew me into getting involved with the capital campaign for this new building was the 10 units they will have for homeless families. Right now, there are generally shelters for homeless men and there's shelters for homeless women, but there aren't shelters where you can combine a teenage or older male and women. And so this will provide those homeless families a place to be. There will be 10 units that are kind of self-contained, where each person has their own apartment, and gives them a chance to have a more stable life for their children. Right now, there are so many hidden costs to being a homeless child, where you don't know where your next meal is coming from, where you're changing schools constantly, and where you're sleeping at night. And that leaves such a detrimental mark on the path for that child going forward. And these kids deserve better than that, and this was our chance to make that happen.
So you said that you're going to have 10 apartments or units, but you don't presently have that?
But presently in our building where we are now, there's no shelter, and in all of Rutherford County, right now there are 4 units for homeless families that are located at the Salvation Army.
So I know you're going to have 10. What do you estimate is in the community presently? That would you have more than 10 families that would be able to use that, or is that a kind of a silly underestimating question?
The need is much greater than that.
Okay.
There may be 3,000. Isn't that the number of homeless families, homeless children
that are in school
in
Rutherford County.
That's combination of Rutherford County schools and the city schools.
That's exactly
'Cause
right.
Rick and I've had Jessica Johnson, who's the liaison for the program with Rutherford County.
Yeah, and if you think of them estimating that there are 3,000 children that have been identified as homeless, they have siblings that are not in school yet. They have parents who are not being counted in that. And, the Journey Home is seeing 40 to 50% of the requests that we receive are from families needing help. And, it's just every day. We had a lady contact us over Thanksgiving weekend who did not have a car, was in a domestic violence situation. Her husband had been arrested. She had a 25-day-old baby, a kindergartner, and a fourth grader, and had absolutely no resources. So, there's a lot of families like that out there, and people say, but I don't see them. And this lady, actually, when you pulled in the neighborhood, the homes were like $400,000 homes. And I know those people had no idea that 3 blocks away from them, they had a family that had nothing. I took some food over to them, and the only thing in their refrigerator were some Kraft single cheese slices.
Wow.
So with that many, 3,000, just in like Rutherford County we're speaking of right now, we're just putting a Band-Aid on it. So what if you were to look in your globe today, what would that look like? What would be the vision?
Now, all of those people are not. Some of those people are staying with friends and relatives.
Yeah.
Couch surfing, as we call it, where you're staying.
But there's like food insecurity with them.
Food insecurity with them. But the people, many of them try to hide. They don't want to be publicized because they're afraid that their children are going to be taken away from them by DCS.
Sure.
And so we don't realize how many people are in that type of situation. But yes, this is the start. There will be homeless with us always. We know that. But that you have to do what you can do. And this is one place where you can reach the most needy and make such a difference in the lives of the parents and, more importantly, in the lives of the children for the rest of their lives.
So the things like SNAP and things like that are state resources, do you help these people be able to ascertain or get those services as far as the program that y'all have, or how's that work?
Yes, so when someone comes into the Journey Home, we interview them and find out why they are at the Journey Home, what caused them to be there, and what kind of resources do they need. And then we start making referrals to those resources. And, it could be our wellness clinic, which we haven't spoken about yet, but the other things are mental health. If you don't have mental health issues, if you become homeless, you probably will have mental health issues. So that's one. And then career development is another one. To live in Rutherford County right now and to pay rent, you need to make about $22 or $23 an hour. So everybody who works at a McDonald's or something like that, they are not able to take care of their families. And we have a lot of single mothers that are working in fast food trying to care for their kids. So
I've noticed over the years the familiar faces that are at the corners of stop signs and stoplights, with signs asking for assistance. But that's kind of turned into their occupation, I guess, unfortunately.
And some of those are clients of the Journey Home. Most of them I do not recognize, but do you want to talk a little bit about the knots?
I probably recognized more of them from my time in the emergency department. They're one way we divide the homeless is the cannots, the have-nots, and the will-nots. And the cannots are the people who just can't make it on their own. until the last 20 or 30 years, society recognized that need. They took care of them in shelters and group homes and cared for those people. They have mental illness, they are intellectually disabled, or have a physical disability where they just can't take care of themselves, and at this point have been left on the streets for the most part. The have-nots are people who just don't have quite enough money to make it through something that's happened to them. Often it's a medical emergency where they were making it in their physical labor job, and then they break a leg or break an arm, can't work for 3 months or 6 months, can't pay the rent, and end up homeless. But if you can just get them through their acute situation, they'll be able to take care of themselves in the future. And then there are the will-nots. And the will-nots are those that you typically see on the corner. They probably could take care of themselves, but they choose not to. They may be making more money begging on the street than they can make in a normal job. And so those people, we can't help. But they don't come into the journey home with a sign saying, I'm a will-not. You have to establish enough of a relationship with them to understand what they can do, how they can help themselves, encourage them, try and address their needs to be able to determine that. So right now we just don't have enough room to take care of those people in a good fashion. The new building will allow us to get to know our clients better, show them concern, draw them in by the food and the clothes and the immediate needs that we can give them, but more importantly, counsel them, see how we can make their lives better, and if we can't make their lives better, let them go. But to give somebody on the street $5 and think you're making a difference in the homeless, you're probably not.
Rick
Yeah.
and I, go ahead.
And I just want to add, the people who are on the streets, on the street corners, they are really what we call the chronically homeless. And they are the smallest percent of the homeless population. They are the most visible. They use a heck of a lot of resources, but they are less than 20% of the homeless population.
Well, I didn't know that. Before the program started, Rick and I were talking. The mental health facility that was on Murfreesboro Road and Donaldson Pike in Nashville forever, and it just seemed like one day it was open and the next day it was closed, and I think a computer place manufacturer eventually bought the site. But do you know what the thoughts going into that, Dr. Galloway? Because I really wasn't aware of the homeless plight at that time when it disappeared, but
we in the emergency department certainly utilized that facility a whole lot, Central State, a whole lot back in the day, and found great ability to send people there to try and get them help. And it just disappeared. And no, I don't know why, but it certainly left a lot of people who cannot take care of themselves on the street to fend for themselves. And I think society is paying the cost of that, which is much greater than the cost of operating the center was.
Yeah, I think that if I remember correctly, because it was not. It was pretty often that we would bring somebody to the emergency department. So if they were going to say they're going to commit suicide or made statements or things, and then they would come and see you, and then we'd have to have a crisis counselor from the state that would come in, and it went from signing those 404 orders to they would go and do that 48-hour stint to they were calling on the phone and asking them to sign a contract saying, I promise I won't hurt myself. Right. And I retired in 2017, so I can only imagine what they do now with them. But they would call on the phone and get them on the phone and say, can you handle your cell phone? And they say, do you promise you won't kill yourself? And we just faxed over a thing, get them to sign it, and if you'll send it back to us, and we'll be done with it. But, the state of Tennessee just abandoned a whole population of Tennessee because they were hurting for money at the time. Now we got a $2 billion surplus, but they crafted laws around that they'll never be able to. Our own kids DCS has to ship them out of state that are mentally ill because we don't have a facility that can hold them. They send them to Texas and Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. So we got state kids in state Tennessee custody that are not even in our state.
Oh, wow.
And we think we're saving money by closing facilities like that. But what you're doing is shifting the cost to the two big sources are the medical care and the jails. The jails we have a better idea on. The jails spend about $250,000 a month caring for homeless people in Rutherford County.
That's right.
You know, $250,000 a month. How many homeless families could we take care of with that? And medical care is harder to get a financial handle on it because of privacy concerns. But I promise you it is at least that much that we have added costs because people can't get their medications. They're diabetics. They can't keep their insulin in refrigerators. They lose their medicines. Their medicines are stolen. And so they come into the emergency department because they can't control their high blood pressure, their diabetes. They end up with more strokes. They end up with more heart attacks. They end up with more long-term medical conditions that we all have to care for them in that sense. Then we pay for it, but instead of costing you, $50 a day for care of them, we're spending tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars caring for them.
Yeah, that's a pay me now or pay me later.
Yes.
Yeah, I think your 250 is low. Dr. Rudd and the medical wing at the SOs, there's 1,000 prisoners there now, and 64% of them have some kind of sort of mental illness or substance abuse. So I think it's low. But we're going to take our first break. You listen to Dr. Russ Galloway and Liz
Cowser.
I'll get it right. So,
thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I did it for you, Wayne. They're with the journey home, but we're going to take our first break and be right back with you in just a minute. Good show.
Chip Walters here with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. I was named a top 10 agent in the #1 Exit Realty office in America in 2021. The top question I get around town, how's the market? Good question. And the answer's changed a few times this year alone. I'd like to know what you've heard and share some solid data we have. Give me a call and let's have a cup of coffee and take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood. All my contact info is right on my website, choosechip.net. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
First Shot, growing in Christ with life and athletic skills.
So we teach God's Word at everything we do to implant it in them so that they understand that the only way to get through the world is with God on their side.
First Shot founder and executive director Andy Herzer.
Our focus is on our inner city here at Patterson Park.
From academics to athletics, First Shot's focus is toward building a stronger, more courageous spirit to face opportunities and obstacles that our youth confront every day. To find out more about First Shot, go to firstshottn.org.
All right, guys, if you're only middle-aged but wondering why it seems harder to keep up, you're not alone. It may be caused by low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. But not just any TRT, not those websites offering only basic treatments. You have to see the provider specialist at Low T Center. They offer advanced personalized treatments with over a decade of experience. At Low T Center, you'll start with a simple test and get your results in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
As a leader in environmental services, sustainability is deeply integrated into our business model. At Middle Point Landfill, we are environmentalists at heart. We use a cutting-edge technology in combination with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. This is Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. For public services, we are sustainability in action.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pests, bees, buzzing, rodents running all through my house, ants chewing wood, and look, there's a mouse. I'm overrun with pests, but you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. Call the best of the best to get rid of your pests.
893-7111. AmeriCare Services Incorporated. Call us today. 893-7111.
There are people around you right now who need encouragement. WGNS hopes that you take the time to listen. That free food drive for area youngsters, sponsored by the Rutherford County SRO program and Rutherford County Schools, continues all this week. Drop off non-perishable food at the area schools or at the sheriff's office at 940 New Salem Highway. They especially need rice, pasta, canned items, snacks, juice boxes, cereal, and bottled water. For information, contact SRO Summer Higgins. Hey, there's coffee and conversation about local history every Saturday morning from 9 until noon at the old one-room Ransom Schoolhouse. And it's all free at the old Ransom School, 717 North Academy Street here in Murfreesboro. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Few spotty rain showers possible late this afternoon with cloudy skies, a high in the low 60s. Tonight, a chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy, a low near 53. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 52.
We're powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. This holiday season, MTE wishes you and your loved ones a Merry Christmas and a bright New Year. Thank you for making our community shine. Happy holidays from Middle Tennessee Electric.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And good morning and welcome back to the second segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And it's our great pleasure this morning to have Dr. Russ Galloway, retired physician and board member for the Journey Home, and Liz Kauser, Director of Development and Marketing for the Journey Home. Did I get it that
you
time?
You did.
So, Dr. Galloway, love your T-shirt. Of course, we have video too. So there is a God. Amen.
There is.
And there is and a Savior.
Yeah, and there is goodness in the world, and we've just got to make it. We got to work to make it better.
Well, I think you two epitomize that goodness with the work that you're doing with the Journey Home. You know, before we left, we talked about the mental health facility there that was referred to as Central State there on Murfreesboro Road at Donaldson Pike. I mean, did they just walk in and close the building, and then all of these people were left to their own devices? Is that the way it worked?
I don't know, except that we lost that facility. You may know better than I.
Well, they went and started buying houses. So now throughout Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and all over, they've bought houses in neighborhoods, and they put 2 per room, and then they have 2 people, a male and a female, that stay with them. And they run shifts, but they Uber Eats their meals into them, and they're in a neighborhood. It could be your neighbor, and they'll buy a house, and that's where they have them.
Okay. Just kind of a bizarre way to treat mental health and the underserved. So, did you want to talk about your partnerships out in the community? Because for you to be as successful as you have been, you must have some very generous partners and stakeholders, if you will.
Well, we do. We have some very generous stakeholders and partnerships. The Journey Home really could not do what it does without the volunteer force. We have about 50 churches that support us, that we consider partners in helping the homeless. We also have a lot of individuals and companies that support us through our fundraising efforts and other things. And, you know, the one thing that I said to Russ many times during our capital campaign is that there is no doubt in my mind how much this community loves the Journey Home. And the Journey Home is really blessed by the love bestowed on us through many aspects.
So we just completed a $6.2 million capital campaign for this new building. And going into this two and a half years ago when I first got involved, it was like, gosh, I don't know that we can raise that amount of money for homeless families, because that's not always what people want to give to. But this community has been so generous. We've gotten donations from so many people who care for others and want to help the plight of the underserved. We got a generous donation from the Chris Houston Foundation and many individuals so that we could reach this goal that most of us recognize would be a real stretch for our community to do. And so we were just have been blessed more than I would have expected to be able to accomplish this.
Yeah, and you know, we haven't really talked much. We've spoken about families, but we really haven't talked about seniors. That's the other group that is extremely affected by homelessness. And, you know, I get cold right now in this weather, but imagine if you're 75 years old
or 71
and you don't have a place to get out of the elements.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's very serious. We had a lady, Miss Peggy, who her and her husband had lived in their home, raised their children, and everything was going great. Her children had moved and had their families in other parts, and he died of a heart attack, and her income could not cover their mortgage. They did not have their mortgage paid off. And while she tried her best to make things meet, she exhausted her savings and then found herself homeless and at the Journey Home. Wow. And so now she has a place to live and actually comes in the community cafe most days of the week to have a good balanced meal. We say it's the best meat and three in town.
So, you know, I've been blessed all my life, so I've never been homeless. But if I was, and I came to you, walk me through the process of how I would be served by the Journey Home.
So you would complete a registration and complete an intake, and that's an interview where we understand your needs and what caused you to come to the Journey Home. And then we would make referrals. So if you needed a home and you had income, maybe your car broke down and you fixed your car and then you couldn't pay your rent and then you got evicted. Being evicted, you had the eviction fees, the late fees, and you still owed the back rent because you needed your car to go to work. So that is somebody that the Journey Home can help pretty easily. We just need to find them a place to live that will overlook their eviction on their record, and the Journey Home will help with some deposits on the front end and get you back into your home. And you know, that's real important for these families because there's a lot of research that has been done on trauma and how that impacts children during their developmental years. And they say that if a child experiences 3 adverse childhood experiences, homeless, domestic violence, bullying, any of these things, a parent going to prison, a parent passing away, then that child will likely not achieve at the same level they would otherwise. So, when a family comes in and we can get them right back into housing and get them back on their regular routine, that minimizes the impact on those children. And so that is going to be, while it's helping that family right away, it's also a preventative measure, because generational homelessness is a real thing. And if you are raised in homelessness, then your likelihood of becoming homeless is huge.
Those adverse childhood events so predict a child's future, and that if you have been exposed to more adverse child events, ACEs, you're less likely to finish high school, you're less likely to go to college, you're more likely to have health issues, you're more likely to die young, you're more likely to end up in prison. We have studies that show all of that, and if you have one, it's bad. It's 3 times as bad as if you have 2. It's 10 times as bad as if you have 3. Homelessness adds a lot of ACEs to you, because you're dealing with a situation where you've lost your friends, you've lost your support system, you may have lost a parent, they're stressed out. We talked about that if any of us end up being homeless for a year, you're probably going to have mental illness. I mean, it's, I don't know that I could stay on the streets for a year and not have mental illness. So, all of those things add up on our children, and their destiny is so much impacted by this, and that if we don't take care of these kids now, we'll have to be taking care of them later.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what you're saying, it's a generational thing, that once you're in that envelope and that wagon wheel, it's hard to really get off that wagon wheel. There's cases that they are able to basically get out and beat the system, but it's a system.
Right.
Unfortunately, I feel like our state is the one contributing to make it worse, not better. And I'm like, Wayne, I commend you guys for what you're trying to do, because we're not a little county anymore. I grew up in Rutherford County, and we were always kind of small, but we're knocking on the door of the 4th largest county in the state of Tennessee, and we're like, the town of Smyrna still wants to be known as a town, but we're ranking right up there, and along with that come these problems that we've got. And how do like the have-nots? So when y'all move over there, it's gonna change the whole dynamic of the downtown. Those, like you said, the small percentage that we see that are homeless, that we see on the street corners in the downtown area, that's going to totally change that whole dynamic.
Hopefully it will help the downtown in that regard to be a mile away.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it to make a difference in those people's lives, but hopefully it will make a difference. But if people stay homeless for very long, it gets harder and harder and harder for them to come out of it. And so we try and reach people early so that they don't experience homelessness. If you don't get them out of homelessness for a year, they're unlikely to get out. It makes it so much harder for them to maintain a normal lifestyle after that experience.
So what services, I know we talked about what the state doesn't do. What does the state do? I mean, is the WIC program available to them? Medicaid, is that available? Are there services that they can utilize that would help them some?
There are. Through that interview process, that really uncovers a lot about the person. And I think about Wayne, who was one of our clients, and he was a chronically homeless. And his story is, every morning he would wake up and start thinking about where he was going to sleep that night.
Wow.
It was just that circle that was going on, and he was thankful if our wellness clinic referred him to the hospital for a couple of days, because he says, I don't have to think about where I'm going to sleep. So
how old was Wayne?
Wayne was a senior, an African-American gentleman. And, well, he is an African-American gentleman.
Okay.
And so he came in for an update on his interview. And, that's what we do with our chronics, is see if their situation has changed. And we discover that he is a veteran. And so we referred him to Veteran Services in Nashville. And he got into veteran housing. He got a job. He then got promoted to supervisor and now has been going back and forth to Atlanta to train people in Atlanta. So he flourished.
Wow.
And it was just that little step that actually was a huge step in his life to change his whole trajectory. And he reminds me a little of Morgan Freeman, the way his conversations are. He's just adorable.
And so a lot of times what the Journey Home does by providing meals and a washing machine where you can get your clothes clean and a shower, it draws the homeless in. But that is the bait. But what we really want to do is establish a relationship with our clients so that we can find out who's a veteran and needs help, who's not signed up for the programs that are available, and help them navigate the maze of bureaucracy that our public service is now so that they can get the help that they need.
So as far as the volunteers, what kind of training do you do for them to interact with the underserved?
So if you want to become a volunteer, the first step is visiting our website, lovegodservepeople.org, and signing up to receive our volunteer emails. And then we will send out notifications about volunteer opportunities. And at that point, when you're interested in something where you feel like you have the skills and the talent to really help us, we will invite you in for an orientation. And then depending on your volunteer job, we will schedule some training and then cut you loose to help us move the needle. We have a lot of volunteers that are there as regularly as a full-time job, and we really couldn't do what we do. I think of a couple of volunteers that are there daily, and they are just amazing.
Building mansions on highs. That's what they're doing.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You're listening to Dr. Russ Galloway and Liz Kauser with the Journey Home of Murfreesboro, but I guess it's of Rutherford County, really, not just Murfreesboro. But we're up on our second break, but we're gonna take a real quick break and come back, and maybe we'll give them some information on how to get in contact with you guys if somebody's listening and want to help. Okay. All right, we'll be right back.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-457-6060. That's 1-800-457-6060.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Hi, this is Trevor from Bell Jewelers. Come see us this Christmas. Longines is a true Swiss watchmaker since 1832. They have high quality timepieces at affordable prices. They have pre-owned Rolex inventory that includes Daytonas, Submariners, Datejust, and GMTs. We just recently got the new Bruce Wayne GMT in, which is a popular Rolex right now. And we have all Rolexes in all different price ranges. Bell Jewelers, 821 Northwest Broad Street, across from Toots.
At Budge Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Ho, ho, ho. I know it's a busy time, but this is also a time of giving. And I need you to give a moment of your time to fill out the special census for Murfreesboro. Go to murfreesborocensus.com. It only takes a couple of minutes, and you'll do a lot for our community. Go to murfreesborocensus.com. Fill out the special census today. Can Santa count you in? Ho, 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 ho.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
And good morning again, and welcome back to the third and final segment of Tuesday Mornings with Rick and Wayne. And again, it's been our great pleasure this morning, especially 8 days before Christmas, that we have Dr. Russ Galloway, retired physician and board member for the Journey Home, and Liz Kauser, director of development and marketing for the Journey Home. I didn't butcher it.
Y'all are doing. By the end of the show, y'all are gonna have it down.
We're best friends, man. We're good from here.
Dr. Galloway, I think on this this last segment, we're going to talk about the medical facilities that presently and future, and I think Liz was going to talk about some of the partnerships that you've had out there, that you have out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now we do provide some counseling and medical care in our very small present building. It is about a 4-foot by 8-foot small alcove off of our dining room that we presently provide care. Not big enough to do much. That is going to greatly expand in our new building, where we're going to have much more. We're going to have exam rooms dedicated for mental health and for physical health. We're working on partnerships now with places like Volunteer Behavioral Health and the St. Louis Clinic to provide care so that we can help our clients where they are and where they live. You know, being homeless, your life is chaotic. It is hard for you to get to an appointment at a certain time when what you're thinking about today is what can I find to eat tonight for lunch and where am I going to sleep tonight. And so it's hard to remember and to make it to those medical and mental health appointments. And so we're trying to lower that bar to let people come in and get care where they already are. And we think that will greatly improve our ability to care for people and hopefully cut down on the significant inpatient care that is provided at our hospital and at the psychiatric facilities. So that is one great improvement that we are looking for in this new building.
Liz, did you want to talk about some of the partnerships and how you benefited from some of the relationships with the local businesses?
Yes, I would like to talk about our partners. We have many food partners, and they support us in different ways. I really want to give a shout out to Arby's and Chicken Salad Chick. Both of Arby's helps us with lunches. Sometimes things get messed up or a volunteer group can't come, and Arby's gives us a discount on lunches that we can get, and also has made significant donations to us over the years, and we are grateful to that. And Chicken Salad Chick right now has giving cards being sold for the Journey Home, and they're great stocking stuffers, and you get a discount every month in 2025 with one of the giving cards, and the $5 goes to the Journey Home and another national nonprofit. But last year we benefited, they made a check presentation to us for $18,000.
Oh, wow.
So it's not chicken scratch.
So, no doubt.
But then we also have some partners that donate food to us on a weekly basis. Chick-fil-A Starbucks just did a blue jean drive for us also, and is bringing over a ton of blue jeans to us tomorrow for our clothes closet. Papa John's donates their pizzas. When somebody orders something and they mess it up somehow, they throw it in the freezer, and then we get their pizzas once a week, and that's sometimes we have pizza for breakfast at the journey home.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then, another one that people don't think about is Bombas socks. It's buy one, give one.
Yeah, right.
And the journey home receives 5,000 pairs of socks annually from Bombas.
Wow.
So, and we use all those. Then we also have a lot of our major grocery store chains that support us. Kroger provides sushi to us weekly, so people get sushi at the journey home if you don't like the meat and three. And Aldi donates to us, and Publix donates to us 7 days a week, and they donate bread, pastries, and desserts. So the bread goes on a bread rack that anybody can take any bread they want anytime, and then the desserts are served at lunch and the pastries are served at breakfast. And Starbucks also donates some breakfast sandwiches and stuff like that. So we have other partners probably that I'm not thinking of, but
just a place to sleep is important. A place, something to eat, no doubt, is important. But being able to take a shower and have your clothes laundered, that is so very important as well.
Yes.
And I think one of the stigma out there with the general public, with the homeless, is that they're dirty. And anytime you can help them maybe to be presentable, I think is a positive effect for them. Not only their self-esteem, but also the general outlook of society as well.
Yeah.
But if you're living without a roof over your head and without a shower, how do you keep clean? How do you apply for that job if you don't have a shower to go clean up and clothes that are reasonably clean to go for any job?
Your new facility, how, as far as the laundry opportunity and the shower,
those certainly will be improvements and better at the new facility. Our goal in the new facility is not to serve more homeless through it and not to provide more meals or not to provide more showers, but to help work people through the system to get them into permanent housing in a more efficient manner.
Well said.
Just listening to that's a hard thing, especially with Rutherford County as fast as we're growing. It seems like the places that would be affordable are being bulldozed down and being put up with new condos now. I'm in the insurance and I'm doing a condo right now. It's $350,000 for a condo, and that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, we all know how much the price of housing has increased, and so you end up with a game of musical chairs, and the people with the least are the ones who get left out of finding a chair.
That's right.
I understand.
And so when we talk about homeless and getting families, so at the heart of what the Journey Home does is we would like to see everybody have a permanent place to live. And people say, wow, how are we going to do that? Well, it costs between $5,000 and $10,000 to get somebody back into a place to live. That's expensive. Yeah. And this past year, we served over 200. We stabilized 260 households, getting them into housing or providing case management or eviction prevention. And when you think about the eviction prevention, that's a really good deal because that costs a lot less than $5,000 or $10,000 to get somebody in. So,
but if we don't do it, we're going to be paying more in health care and in our jails, and it's bad for our businesses. Besides it being the right thing to do, it's also the financially prudent thing to do.
Well, with Thanksgiving just passed and with Christmas 8 days away, that need is probably so much more important now, coming into the Christmas time.
Absolutely, it is. It's,
you know, something that Rick and I have talked about, but with the jail, it's full, and schools are tremendously expensive. The last one we built, Rockvale, was $74 million. What'd they say? The
next high school will be $180 million.
Okay.
Wow.
And those are horribly expensive, but of course the need. But with all the security provisions and everything that you have to do with a jail, what would you think a jail might cost, Rick? I mean, that's just, talk about a burden on the taxpayers.
So the state of Tennessee, at a nonprofit I used to work for that served children, the state of Tennessee, their biggest project in their budget line was a new prison. So, yeah.
Well, we haven't built another prison since 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they farmed them out to all of our county jails. That's part of what the problem is with Rutherford County.
Yeah.
They got a lot of state prisoners. So if they do a 5-year or under sentence, they can leave them where they're at, and the state pays a minimum amount of money daily to the sheriff's office to keep them. So
Minimum being the key.
we always had to fight for that dollar for the state, for what they pay us.
Yeah, but again, a school, close to $200 million, but a jail, what, $1 billion, Rick? I don't know.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Thank you for what you do for the community.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to give our opinion. Thank you.
Yep. Liz, if somebody wants to reach out to their journey home, can they go to your website and donate through that, or
They
reach out, or what's some
can.
phone numbers or emails that
Yes,
they might contact?
Our phone number, if anybody needs help or would like to support the journey home, it is 615-809-2644. Or you can visit our website, which is lovegodservepeople.org. And, I just want to touch on one thing before we go. I met with one of our large donors. She gave us a significant gift last year. And I've called her and written her and said, hey, can I just meet you for coffee? I want to learn more about why you want to give to the journey home. And then she inquired to be a volunteer, and I said, well, you have to meet with me, So I finally got to meet Julia, and she came in, and I said, well, tell me what you know about the journey home. I'm so glad to meet you. And she said, I'm a former client of the journey home. So when people think about how we support our resources, we have clients, and I'm thinking of 2 different clients that give us what I consider major gifts. They're former clients, but the journey home helped them in their, so people do go on to live normal lives and join the community and give back to the community in such a big way.
It's amazing. Wow. Amazing testimony. Everybody, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. We'll be out the next couple of weeks, but on behalf of Wayne and I, please have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to 2025. But everybody have a great day, and we'll see you later.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank y'all for having us.
You're very welcome.